Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called Red Hollow Middle School. The old Red Hollow Middle School sat at the edge of town like something forgotten on purpose. Windows boarded, playground rusted into sharp silhouettes. The flagpole bent slightly, as if it had tried to lean away and failed. Everyone in town knew the stories: lights turning on at night, books found scattered in the road, whispers drifting from the vents when you walked past after dark. Officially, the school had been closed due to structural concerns. Unofficially, people said it was because of Mrs. Eleanor Greaves, the librarian. 3 boys decided that was nonsense. Caleb Morris, 17, liked proving people wrong. Jonah Pike, 16, liked adrenaline. Ethan Ruiz, 16, just didn't like being left out. They parked behind the tree line just after midnight, flashlights in their pockets, backpacks slung low. The air smelled like damp leaves and old concrete. "This is stupid," Ethan muttered. "That's what makes it fun," Jonah grinned. They slipped through a gap in the fence and crossed the cracked blacktop. The front doors were chained, but a side window had been smashed long ago. Inside, the air was stale and cold, unnaturally cold. Their footsteps echoed too loudly, bouncing down the halls like someone else was walking behind them. The lockers stood open, doors bent and twisted like broken teeth. Papers littered the floor: old worksheets, detention slips, library checkout cards. Caleb picked one up. It had today's date. The farther they went, the quieter it became. No wind. No insects. Just the hum of fluorescent lights that shouldn't have worked flickering weakly overhead. They reached the library. The doors were intact. That alone should have sent them running. Inside, shelves stretched impossibly far, rows bending where they shouldn't. Dust floated in the air like drifting snow. A single desk lamp glowed at the checkout counter. Someone was sitting there. A woman. Thin, rigid, gray hair pulled back so tight it seemed to stretch her skin. Her eyes were sharp, furious, and unblinking. She looked up slowly. "Talking," she hissed. "No running. No food. No noise." Her voice scraped like paper cuts on glass. Jonah laughed nervously. "Okay. Cool animatronic." The woman stood. The room darkened. "You were late," she said. The shelves began to move. Books slid free and slammed shut by themselves. A ladder clattered across the floor, stopping at Jonah's feet. The woman's mouth stretched wider than it should. "I am Mrs. Greaves," she snarled. "And you will learn." The doors slammed shut. Lights flickered. Ethan screamed as something yanked his backpack clean off his shoulders, dragging it into the shelves where hands formed from shadow, tearing notebooks apart page by page. The librarian moved without walking, gliding, her feet never quite touching the floor. "Rule breakers," she spat. "Always rule breakers." She snapped her fingers. The shelves collapsed inward, forming narrow aisles that twisted like a maze. Caleb grabbed Jonah's arm. "Run." They bolted. The school no longer made sense. Hallways stretched longer. Doors led back to the same rooms. Chalkboards filled themselves with red writing. Silence. "Read or bleed." "Overdue." Mrs. Greaves' voice echoed from the vents. "Do you know," she whispered, "how many children disrespected books?" A locker burst open. Pages poured out like blood. Ethan tripped, caught by invisible hands pulling at his legs. Caleb yanked him free just as the floorboards split open beneath them, revealing shelves below, filled with books bound in skin. Names were etched into the spines. Student names. Jonah sobbed. "She killed them." "No," Caleb said, breathing hard. "She didn't." The truth hit him all at once. She kept them. They burst into the main hallway. The exit doors were gone. In their place stood Mrs. Greaves, taller now, her limbs bending the wrong way. "You don't leave until you're catalogued," she shrieked. She lunged. Jonah grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed her face. She screamed, not in pain, but in rage. The sound shattered windows. The illusion broke. The school rotted in seconds, walls collapsing, floors caving, shelves crumbling into dust. They ran through falling debris, through screaming wind, through a building tearing itself apart. They dove through the broken window they'd entered from just as the entire structure collapsed inward like a dying lung. Silence. They survived. Barely. Police found nothing but rubble. The town said the boys imagined it. Weeks later, Caleb noticed something strange. Books in his room rearranged themselves overnight. Jonah developed migraines whenever he passed a library. Ethan started whispering rules in his sleep. Then Caleb found a card in his backpack. A library card. His name was printed neatly on it. Stamped across the bottom. Checked out, no return. From inside his walls, pages began to turn. And somewhere, a librarian smiled, because the school was never the prison. The books were.